In this video, I will talk about 4 examples of benchmarking analysis. The first one is a very popular one. It's called the energy benchmarking, where a lot of cities have adopted this. Like in New York, they require all large buildings over 50,000 square feet to report and measure their energy and water use. And they also are given an Energy Star score from the EPA Energy Star portfolio manager. If you're a building manager, you will know from the entire database how your energy and water use compare to other buildings in the city, especially for the similar buildings in the city. For example, if you're looking at the office building, the most inefficient one, it uses 4.5 times than the most efficient one in terms of their energy use. This figure gives you the distribution of the energy star score for all buildings, for all eligible buildings in a city. So the maximum is 100 and the lower one is 0. So an average is 64. So when you're looking at the buildings, the office only takes 11% of the number of properties, but they make up 1/3 of the energy use. Seattle has one similar one. When you're looking at the more red you see, the less energy efficient. So, for example, the medical office is very, very inefficient in its energy use, while on the other hand, hospital is very efficient. And so the goal would be, this will provide a nice benchmark of where to close the energy benchmarking gap. Another example is done by World Bank, where they're looking at the local government performance on rural sanitation in one district in northern India. So specifically, they look at how different sub-districts are spending on rural sanitation, how many, whether they have enough toilet in the household, and how the school is doing, and they look at different indicators. They come up with a cumulative performance score for each sub-district in this big state. So they could represent their findings in terms of aggregate performance scores like this, and they also track the score over time. They can track their own. For example, they look at the Kulu region. They can look at their performance over time, and they can break down their performance by different indicators. So not only you may not be doing well, but you will know on which measure you need more improvement. This is very similar to what you guys are doing for the city of Columbus. Another nice example is coming from the EU banks, where a little different from what we talk about in the best practice benchmarking, where in that you're trying to find the comparable apple-to-apple comparison. Say, for example, for city of Columbus, you may find Chicago or Indianapolis as your comparable partner. In this case, they're not looking at one specific bank or organization. Instead, they use some screening. They look at all the 171 financial institutions, and they try to establish a lot of sustainability criteria based on whether the bank is energy efficient in their paper consumption, internal operations, and whether you're investing enough in the sustainable product, or whether you have some other companies, and how you're doing favorably for the sustainable companies in your credit business. So basically, they created a suite of criteria for sustainability leaders. Then they find out 22 organizations are identified as the sustainability leaders, and they have their strengths in different criteria. So not just finding a comparable partner. In this case, you're finding what is the best practice on each criteria. So by comparison, you're looking for climate adaptations, for a particular objective, which city is doing great. For another one, maybe another city. For example, for the credit business, they look at whether you have the green credit funds, whether you have green loans with interest reduction, whether you're issuing environmental friendly mortgages, whether you have the equity funds that is investing in renewable energy, sustainable mobility, etc. and etc. So they try to find, for different criteria like the green credit funds, what is the top one or two organization that is the best in class. The last one I have is from the International Financial Corporation, where they have for their products in a high impact industry like mining, they have one matrix where you can refer to, called the Sustainability Program Quality Benchmark Matrix, where for each of the objectives, for example, the Emergency Preparedness Program, they have four levels of performance. From ineffective, neutral, good, and best. So the ineffective practice for the emergency preparedness is you only have some procedure, but it's not well communicated, and it's really a low priority in the organization. Where in a best practice scenario, you have a well articulated plan, and all the sectors involved in this within the organization are aware of this, and you also have very good community support. Similarly, for the environmental outcomes, you also have 4 levels from ineffective to best. So through the examples, we can see the benchmarking has been used by by companies, NGOs, local governments, and you have the formal benchmarking, the best practice benchmarking. You could find the apples to apple comparison partners. You could also try to think more from the criteria perspective. For each criteria, try to identify the best in class performer. That's all. Thanks.